All right, thank you guys for joining us. We'll go ahead and get started since we have a tight agenda today. I'm Stacey Williams. I'm the Executive Director of AI San Francisco, and thank you all for joining us. Next year will be a pretty big year for us. So not only is it AI San Francisco's 140th anniversary, but as you all know, we'll be moving to the ground floor of the Halliday building. So we're very excited about this, and we know that everyone is still facing challenges with the coronavirus and economic issues. So we're here to really focus on the recovery and the collaborative spirit of the organization. So we're very happy to have you here today and looking forward to it. I'd like to thank our sustaining sponsors for making our ongoing programming successful throughout the year. Without these guys, we really wouldn't be able to continue functioning and do all of the work that we provide for you guys. So I will quickly run through the agenda today.
Yeah, I just talked to William about that. RFI 148 is the detail.
Sorry about that. I'll run through the agenda for us quickly today. And yeah, it should be a fun reveal. So firstly, Adrian Steichen will run through the updates for AIASF. Josh Aidlin will walk us through the design for the new space, and David Hecht will then talk to us about the campaign and the next steps for the project. And then we'll reconvene for a Q&A where Rosalind will be joining us, and then we'll adjourn. So it should be a very quick hour, but we will have a few minutes at the end that you guys can ask us any sorts of questions. Let's see, a couple Zoom housekeeping details. We think we have disabled the chat. We're not 100% sure. We had a couple technical difficulties this morning, but we welcome all of your questions through the Q&A feature. So please do try to use the Q&A so that we can consolidate common questions and provide feedback throughout the presentation, and we'll also be able to unmute you guys during the Q&A. So also, honestly, this project has been, I can't even describe to you guys how much work has gone on the back end of this project. It's been a work in progress for many, many years. And the volunteers that are helping are just tremendous. So I just want to recognize, in addition to the people who are on this panel today, Paul Cooper from TES, Tracy DeLue from DPR, Jessica Lane with EHDD, Greg Novakoff with LMS, Matt Stoblin, Jennifer Suzuki with Long and Levitt, Amy Ress with AI San Francisco, as well as Angela Chin, also with AI San Francisco. And in addition to this task force, we also have our capital campaign committee that has been working feverishly to secure donations, in-kind donations, and otherwise. So there is a tremendous group of people. So Adrian Steichen, Kathy Simon, Charles Salter, Chris Serenis, Clark Manis, Daniel Perez, David Hecht, Doug Tom, Elizabeth Sporo, Francesca Oliveira, Greg Novakoff, Jessica Lane, Michael Willis, and Peter Noon. So thank you guys very, very much. And so introducing today's panelists, we have Joshua Aidlin from Aidlin Darling Design, Rosalind Cole, also with Aidlin Darling, David Hecht with Tanner Hecht, and Adrian Steichen with Piatak, who is also the AI San Francisco 2020 president. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Tori Wolcott-Green, who is not a panelist, but she has been tremendous on this project as well, from Aidlin Darling. So I'm going to pass this over to Adrian, and she can kick things off today and lead us into the conversation. So thanks.
Thanks, Stacey. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Thanks. So This really has been years in the making. Member outreach to the chapter membership, gathered feedback through a series of town hall programs, surveys, and that was ultimately summarized in the strategic business plan published in November of 2019. And what we heard from you, our members, our community, is that you wanted a cultural destination, something that provided education and acted as an advocate for the profession. You wanted expanded capacity in the form of potentially walking tours, exhibitions, the reimagining of the architecture lecture series, and some retail. You also wanted this to be a headquarters for the AIA San Francisco that was at street level, that it was accessible to everyone in a desirable location near transit, and then it demonstrated a commitment to good design, to sustainable design, and equitable design. And that really this AIA San Francisco and Center for Architecture and Design headquarters would inspire and engage the broader community of San Francisco. And of course, that strategic business plan was published in November of 2019 before the pandemic changed everything. So where are we now? In these unprecedented times, there's no better time to make these dreams a reality. Opening our new headquarters as the premier regional hub where architects and allied professionals and design enthusiasts of all ages can connect and learn about our shared built environment. So we're planning on demolition of the new space on the ground floor of the Halliday building at 140 Sutter, starting soon after Thanksgiving. And we're scheduling ourselves to open sometime in the summer of 2021. You can go to the next slide. So what does that expanded access and capacity look like? Downtown San Francisco's vibrancy will engage the space and complement the dynamic architectural features that exemplify beautiful, sustainable design and offer a central venue for events, exhibitions, and programs. This new hub that will house AIA San Francisco and the Center for Architecture and Design celebrates the city's pioneering and creative spirit while engaging our community in collectively building our future. So after a space search, it resulted in the selection of 140 Sutter. Hopefully you all remember that presentation town hall as this new headquarters location. And we issued an RFP for architects with this expanded capacity in mind. In this new space, we're going to have twice the amount of square footage that we had on the sixth floor. With doubling our square footage, we're able to add a welcome desk that greets all visitors and directs traffic, and then dedicated spaces, retail to engage foot traffic and visitors, a gallery that is more of a permanent part of the space with expanded capacity visible from the entry and the street, a lecture hall that hosts educational and public events as well as committees, conference rooms to accommodate concurrent meetings, and a mezzanine that would house the staff offices for both the center and AIA San Francisco. Next slide. And so it's my immense pleasure to introduce Josh Aidlin and Rosalind Cole to present the design for the AIA San Francisco and Center's new headquarters. Thanks.
Okay, so first of all, let's see if I can get control of. There we go. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be presenting to you once again on the new headquarters for the AIA and Center for Architecture and Design. It's just a great honor to have been selected as the architect and to be collaborating for the last number of months on the evolution of the new headquarters. And I'm going to backtrack a bit for those of you who did not see the first presentation, and that's to walk you through what we, Aidlin Darling Design, see the tenets of this project and the success of this project being. The first, simply creating a diverse and cross-pollinated program, starting with a architectural gallery that is a permanent gallery, unlike what you have today, a permanent lecture hall, a cafe bookstore to invite the public into this new nexus of architecture and design. And then obviously meeting places for the public on focused discussions. And then last but not least, obviously the offices and the headquarters for the AIA. Key to this success and taking advantage obviously of the ground floor space is creating a venue which is very porous. One where you can be, in a cafe, but simultaneously observing people in a much more dynamic kind of gallery setting. And in that, this idea of layering both visual, audio, and physical spaces we feel is critical to this, creating this dynamic hub. And then given that there's so many different programs that we're envisioning occurring in this space, creating a space that's highly flexible is also critical. And also given that the existing ground plane is variable in height, taking advantage of that and sculpting it intentionally, both inside and out. And then obviously the opportunity to focus on a biophilic, sustainable space we feel will not only provide a great venue for visitors, but equally importantly is the staff, creating a truly scientifically born and proven environment that will be sustainable throughout. So if you take a step back through the history of San Francisco, historically, we've been the heart of progressive narrative, whether it starts with Allen Ginsberg, through the Beat poets, and obviously their home being City Likes Bookstore. How can we create an equal, if not more powerful venue here in the new center? One where we create this nexus for dissemination and consumption of the architectural and design narratives, whether it's through spoken word, through lectures and panel discussions, or written word in the bookstore, or purely the visual, creating this architectural and design gallery for the public and the architectural community to consume. And all of this is focused on creating and educating the public and enlivening the architectural and a rigorous architectural design discourse, and ultimately just educating all. So if you look back through the tools that architects use to convey their ideas, the blueprint is obviously at the heart, where you as a designer are communicating to the makers of the world. And that starts in 2-dimension, becomes 3-dimensional, and ultimately, how can that concept be discovered here in this home for the new center? So starting at the streetscape level, creating not only static, potentially kinetic furniture, which would then become potential parklets, ultimately to be sculpted as this Parnasian discovery within. So starting with this site analysis, again, you have this incredible front facade, fully glazed front facade, bringing in natural south-facing light. It's an amazing nave-like, almost religious space in its proportions. It's a double high space in the front with a mezzanine in the rear, in the northeast corner. It also has a lowered roof with no building occupying above it. So we have the ability to bring in natural light in the rear of the space. We have the ability to take advantage of this existing steel safe in the rear of the building, and just acknowledge again the fact that there's a level shift from the east to west and how we can use that as an opportunity. So the diagram evolved where you do have this double high nave gallery space, which is kind of the heart of the institution, and bringing people in off the street both visually and physically into this nave space, which is then surrounded by bookstore, cafe, lecture hall, conferencing spaces, reception area, and just the necessary restrooms and cooking facilities, which are back of house spaces. And then nesting up above, you have the private offices of the AIA in the center. So when you lay that out on the ground floor and the upper mezzanine, again, you have this active street facade opening up to an entry and reception, a dynamic community bookstore cafe that then evolves into this, again, this nave gallery space down the center of the space, an adjacent lecture hall, and then two adjoining conference rooms, one large and one small. And then nested here, kind of in the darkest corner of the space, would be the back of house restrooms and cooking facilities. Up above, again, nesting up here on the mezzanine are the private offices with access to the lecture hall. Excuse me, the lecture hall as well. So this schematic design, as it's evolved over the last couple of months, and I should say that this has not been a solo effort by any means. It's been a large team of consultants and a critical partner in BCCI construction, all with all hands on deck, trying to extract the most potent, but also the most cost-effective solutions possible. So again, starting with this kinetic furniture out front as street front furniture that can then swing out and begin to create a more public facade and face to the institution. You enter through the double doors to a reception area, but before that, these red rectangles are indicators of architectural display, which then merge with a architectural bookstore and cafe. So what you see in blue are full height bookcases that then give way to the nave, which is all architectural and gallery display. So there's an upper gallery and a lower gallery, and then additional art display being able to be pivoted out with this kinetic gallery space. Directly adjoining is a 120-seat lecture hall with retractable seating at this point, obviously depending on fundraising, whether that becomes fixed seating or not is to be determined. In the rear, you have a gracious 35 to 38 person conferencing space, 2 stories tall, graced with a living wall and natural light penetrating the ceiling plane. Adjacent to that is a small conference room where we're repurposing the steel vault and removing a wall to provide indirect natural light into this 16-seat conferencing space. In addition, you obviously have bike storage, restrooms, and a catering kitchen as well, with a private booth for making calls as well. The main stairway up to the mezzanine is right here adjacent to the reception desk. And then when you rise up to that mezzanine level, you arrive at 2 different points, one the main stair, one the side stair, all with a reception area and all the research tools at everyone's disposal. And then you have private offices with an open studio in the rear, breakout rooms, small kitchen, recording booth, and again, a series of private offices to accompany. You also have a lift which can bring you up to the raised mezzanine level for the lecture hall. So in section, this is a cross section, north-south section through the entry cafe bookstore, again, a vaulted space, which has the ability to have projections ongoing throughout the day and the evening, through the lecture hall, again, with its retractable seating, again, dual projections within. And then you have the large 1.5-story tall lecture hall with the skylight and living wall at the rear. Moving a bit east the cross section through the nave itself. Again, incredible 19 to 22 foot tall space with ample sunlight coming in from the south, and then breaking up into the lower gallery and upper mezzanine for workstations and work office. This a cross section looking east. In this case, you have the entry to your right. You have reception, and then you have this long nave gallery space for architectural display, with the offices again up above, and this living wall and natural light coming in on the left. A cross section looking the opposite direction, again walking through the nave, up the stairs to the offices above, and beyond you see the lower gallery in this case, and then the smaller conference room, again retrieving indirect light from the skylights beyond. So in 3 dimensions, again, a very humble palette, a new concrete floor, the 1.5-story space rising above you. We would be, the intent is to pull, when we do our demo, is to pull all the kind of the detritus away of the existing clothing store and reveal this beautiful concrete columns, concrete ceiling. You can see the gallery kind of unfolding in front of you, the mezzanine beyond, and then the living wall in the distance, creating these constellation of plywood boxes, the front being the lecture hall. Up above, you have offices hidden behind the reception area, and then a 2-story mass, which houses the breakout room for staff. Now, just pivoting slightly, you can start to see how the lower level of the lecture hall is quite porous. So the bookshelves pivot and open up to reveal the lecture hall, as well as the side walls to create a more open, flexible gathering space for public venue. Also, you can see in this case, the display for architectural exhibits can flip out and pivot, providing more area for display. And then swinging around, looking back to the west, you see this 2-story tall cafe and bookstore. Again, natural light coming in from the storefront, people gathering, really creating a communal space for all of the San Francisco and international, actually, ability to come in and absorb architecture, have a dialogue about architecture and design. Up above, you can see the ability to project movies and or stills to again inspire the dialogue happening below. When seats are retracted, this is a view from the lecture hall looking out towards the cafe and over to the east towards the gallery exhibit area. Again, the space will be rented out throughout the year, so creating dynamic, flexible space for those events would be critical. And then in pure lecture mode, the rake seating helping viewing. And then as you make your way back through the nave to the lower, more intimate space, this is the gallery space on your right, the living wall obviously right in front of you being grazed with natural light from above, and then treating the existing structure as almost this found ruin, beautiful concrete ruin. So there's no walls that collide with it. It's really about respecting that existing structure and opening up to a large conference room beyond. So when you're in the conference room, you're looking back, you have the living wall to your left. You have this glazed lower facade, which is truly revealing the existing structure, almost like a Gordon Matta-Clark sculptural installation, which also reveals the architectural gallery and the lower, smaller conference room beyond through translucent glass. Very dynamic space. And then once you're within the vault or that smaller conference room, you're getting this beautiful dappled light coming through and diffused light coming through the translucent glass using attenuating surfaces, sound attenuating surfaces, whether it's felt or ribbed ceilings, again, to create a very intimate space for the smaller conference room and meetings. And then last but not least, the kind of the facade in the evening of this dynamic institution, again, collaging architectural display, a cafe environment, a bookstore, a lecture hall, film, all together. So we're quite excited about the potential of where the entire team has brought the project. And on that note, I think I'll hand it off to David to talk about the fun stuff, the the financing of the project.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for the presentation and all of your work and your entire team's work. It's really appreciated. I think we just want to let the chapter know that, this more slide. Did we lose the presentation? Bear with us for a moment, please. Unless it's just us, but no, there's still 121 participants. That's good. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Thank you. Go back. Back. Oops. It's the virus. It's the virus.
I hope that wasn't me, David.
No, no.
It might have been.
Okay, please. Okay, thank you, Angela. Okay. And just go back. Okay, yeah. So, this whole effort is Stacy's pointed out, and Josh has mentioned as well. Just the number of people involved is pretty incredible, and the generosity that's being offered to the chapter from the committee level through the design team, the builders, BCCI Construction, and all the consultants. We just can't say enough and can't thank everybody enough for all their generosity at this point. And it truly is I think Stacy may have mentioned before, this notion of barn raising is very much what this project is about, and people contributing and collaborating. So if we go to the next slide, we'll show some of those people here, the rest of our dream team, as we're calling them. You know, you've met Josh and Rosalind, Aidlin Darling Design, BCCI Construction, who were selected earlier this year, have been incredible in terms of pre-construction services and helping us figure out, back please, okay. Helping the whole team figure out sort of what the potentials are in the space based on the design. And that was began a few months ago with exploratory demolition, which they generously donated and revealed a lot of things. In fact, the slide behind me is the space as it looks today after some of the exploratory demolition. And as Adrian mentioned, after Thanksgiving, we're going to complete the rest of the demolition and have a completely cleaned out space so the design can eliminate any surprises, hopefully, as we finish the design up. AR Green, Adamina Rodriguez, who's our board member, has donated her services for lead consulting. Atelier 10 is our environmental consultants working with Aidlin Darling. Chris Downey, Architectural Blind, is taking a look at the project on many levels of sensory, from the sensory aspect, and has been providing a lot of great ideas there. Murphy Burke Curry, structural engineers, helping us figure out new floor planes and some of the new features are going into. PAE engineers have been providing guidance on our trying to be a very advanced mechanical system as much as possible to meet our LEED goals, which is we're hoping to. I think we're in LEED gold currently. We're trying to get to platinum, but that's all depending on budget and all these various pieces in play. Salter, Charles Salter and Company, I would say. Charles has been just a really great proponent of this project and cheerleader and has been donating the acoustical, AV, security, and telecom consulting on this. And Solomon Corwell Blends is providing the specifications consulting, preview group for code consulting, and Tucci Lighting for the lighting design. So we can't thank you enough for all the effort thus far, and as we keep moving forward with the project. Next slide, please. Our continued collaborators. Bruce Albert, a member of the AIA, is helping us kind of manage the overall project with the landlord and base building things. Go back, please. And HOK is helping us procure FF&E items. We've done a survey of the existing, everything we have that's existing, and as much of that as we can hopefully take with us, we will, but we're also looking for opportunities for new furnishings and fixtures in the new space. Richard Barnes, photographer, has been helping us document the sort of still shots of the space and the process as we go through demolition. And then Tamsin Orion is volunteering services to produce a documentary film. So there's actually been a GoPro in the space kind of documenting things thus far, and we'll continue to do that. And even this presentation today is being recorded, and snippets of this will probably make their way into the documentary film. And next slide, please. Goods and services offered. So this is a list of number of organizations. Can you go back? Okay, thank you. Number of organizations that have contributed thus far in-kind donations and or services in some cases. So just quickly acknowledge them: Acoustics, Acoustics West, the largest on the acoustic network. Armstrong. Armstrong is potentially donating a lot of the finished materials and acoustic materials, acoustic mitigation materials. BKF Engineers, who you know is civil engineers, but they also have a as-built scanning service within the company. They've scanned the building and provided the base buildings for the space, and we'll go back and scan it after we finish our demolition to confirm everything. Cal Lighting and Cooper Lighting, looking at our lighting package for potential donations there with that. DPW Plumbing Company in San Francisco, Eaton Electrical, Habitat Horticultural, working with us on the green wall. IAC and CAG for acoustical doors and possibly a podcast booth. Kinetics Noise Control, LeGrand Electrical, base distribution systems. Majestic Flooring, Monticelli Painting. Northern California Allied Trades is associated with a number of finished trades. Hopefully will be helping us install a number of the finishes. NG Associates assisting with some of the cafe planning. Osram and Asilium for lighting. Paganini Electric helped us do the safe off for the exploratory demo. And then Rockathon, Skyfold, and PSI. Sherwin-Williams for a lot of the finishes. Sunfi, TerraVisual, Toto, hopefully the plumbing fixtures. Traxon and Young Electric for our AV systems installation. So this is just the beginning. We are continuing to outreach for a number of manufacturers and suppliers, and BCCI has been very instrumental in that as well as our capital campaign committee. Back to the barn raising idea, this is really utilizing and maximizing all of our connections within the industry to hopefully get as much as possible donated to get the design that we'd like to have and have it realized. Which leads us to the next slide, to look at a few numbers. So funding. We had an initial budget for the project before there was design to sort of see where it might land within the construction landscape of San Francisco. As you know, it's not the cheapest place to build. And this space is this is our standalone space, not connected to the building. So we're basically taking it as a cold shell to the design that you see. And there have been some impacts, I think, as a lot of you have probably seen with pricing from the pandemic, supply chains, and just timing in general. And so our initial budget was for the design with all new HVAC systems, lighting, electrical distribution, plumbing, everything was hitting around 5 million or so. So that's kind of the retail, I call it the sort of suggested retail price. However, we are getting a number, as on the previous slide, a lot of things are in play to be donated. And of this overall project budget, we have about $600,000 in from the landlord as part of the lease for the TI allowance. Potential, if necessary, if need be, a bridge loan for the project, but we're hoping that with as much donated materials that won't need to happen. The pro bono and in-kind services, we've received about $700,000 already. We have a $1 million goal, but we wouldn't cap that. If we can get 2 million in donations, we will not turn them down. And similarly, cash donations. This is the kickoff today of our fundraising campaign. And so we've received currently in cash about $160,000. And our goal of 2 million, again, that's a sort of high mark goal, but if we can get more of the area in the red donated in services and materials through all the various building systems and installations, then the cash number goes down. But we're using these as benchmarks for now, and they will be updated continuously as we continue to move through the project. So with that in mind, we just encourage everybody to sort of help out as much as they can. And this, reaching out to maybe other people in your networks that might be able to contribute either in cash or in-kind donations for materials and services. And that's kind of where we are with the numbers.
Thank you, David. This has been a truly inspiring process, and thank you all. I can't wait to see the transformation that happens of the space and of the organizations involved in this. So I think we're excited to see what's next. Over the last couple of months, we have asked a handful of people involved in the project to give testimonials as to why they're excited about the new AIA Center headquarters. As David mentioned, this is a barn raising. I think Chris Serenis came up with that term, and it stuck. So we've been referring to this project as quite the barn raising effort. So we are inspired to see. And we'll continue to record these videos, but we're inspired to see what excites you guys about what we're doing. So we will show Cam from our center board president and see what she has to say.
I am thrilled that we finally have the physical ability for the center to be what it has always desired, a place that brings people together with diversity of thought and practice. In 2021, the center and AIASF will relocate to a new headquarters on the ground floor of the historic Halliday Building in downtown San Francisco. This street-level presence will welcome the community to participate in the future thinking of cities and places that are economically vibrant, culturally diverse, and distinctively healthier and more resilient. So I hope you will join me in supporting AIASF's capital campaign to build the new Center for Architecture and Design in San Francisco.
And you can find the rest of these short videos on our website at aiasf.org, Future HQ, or you can find them on our YouTube channel. There are 2 ways that you can continue to I think I might be going off script a little bit here. Can you go to the next slide? Well, actually, if this is a great example of what the space looks like now, and hopefully right after Thanksgiving, it will be completely cleared out in what is envisioned. So can you go to the next slide, please? All right, there are two ways right now that you guys can support. I feel like I'm on a telethon. So if you scan, we've all been going out to eat lately and using the QR codes for your menus, so you all should know how to do this. If you scan the QR code on the left, it will take you straight to the donation page. And as David mentioned, we do have quite a goal. So thank you guys for anything that you're able to provide. And then also, we're super excited about this. We need a name. So we need a name for the space for the AIA headquarters, as well as the Center for Architecture and Design offices. So we are launching a competition starting today to name the physical space. So be sure to check that out. Also on the same webpage, AIASF.org, Future HQ, and submit your ideas and or vote up names that you like. And we will run that competition through early January. So please be sure to take a look at that. Let's see, I think we're going to start the panel discussion now. And any question you guys have, please be sure to put them in the Q&A box. And also you can raise your hand and we can get you unmuted to ask your question live if you would like as well. So let's see, we have one question. It says, beautiful to see the design reveal. How have planning and building codes been addressed creatively, excuse me. The historic facade update in an atypical way? Is ADA addressed in a special way that integrates the requirements while elevating the user? Strategic or redundant egress through sliding, folding walls? Overall, would like to know what architects can learn from the design in terms of honoring and celebrating the intent of the code. Anyone want to take that?
Why don't I take that? I don't know if we can flip back to the plan, or I can just speak to it in general. I think one of the, both the challenges and the opportunities of the space is the bifurcated nature, where basically we have two bays that have very different heights. So design-wise, we wanted to make sure that everyone could navigate the space easily. And so we have basically brought the higher elevation over and found a way to use sloped walkways instead of a ramp to rise up into the space, and providing opportunities to move through the space, either through ramps or stairs. So there are a variety of means of basically navigating the space in a very intuitive way. We've also relocated the stairs, provided new stairs that are very easily accessible, and worked closely with the city of San Francisco. We've had a pre-app meeting, talked to them about our plans, and are really looking at how to make a very accessible space out of what has numerous height challenges.
And also, Rosalind, there is a new lift being added where none existed before, so there is the lift.
Yes, there's absolutely a lift being added to the space.
And then another, I think one of the questions also is learning from the space, and there's quite a bit being thought in the background about how various things will be displayed and possibly white papers being written. Charles Salter is pursuing a lot of these ideas for architectural acoustics. Of course, the environmental aspect of it, the HVAC systems and energy, trying to go, well, we are going all electric, and hopefully maybe we'll have some sort of dashboard near the entry area that the public and everybody can see sort of how the building or how the space is performing. So the educational part is very much in the thinking of this project, and just still trying to figure out what those venues, what those things might be. The documentary film might be one of them to begin with. That's going to sort of show how this whole process happened.
And also to address the earlier part of that question, the historic facade is not being addressed at the moment. That would be a separate project if we do ultimately address any changes to the facade. That's the only question. Does anybody else have any other questions? You must have some questions for us. Oh, let's see. Kathy Simon just raised her hand. Oh, I guess she was kidding. Let's see. All right. All right. I'm gonna unmute Kathy. Kathy, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you so much. It was a really great presentation, beautiful drawings. I think it's going to be wonderful. And I think you mentioned at the beginning that the movable amphitheater seating in the lecture hall is something that you're trying to still fund so that it could slide back and then you have a flat floor space, which would be really great. Is that the idea?
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's a good hope. And how, I mean, what's the issue there in terms of money?
It is the issue.
It's just needs to be fundraised for. Really. Yeah.
Well, how much is it?
I believe it's about 125K. Is that right, David?
Obviously, yeah, in that range, yes.
Yeah, because I've done that a couple of times and they're really great. They really work well. And I think that would be terrific. And my other question is sort of dopey question. I just didn't see how disabled access to the second floor.
Oh, that is a,
see an elevator.
Yes, there's a lift.
Building elevators for that?
No, there's a lift that is in the design.
I just missed it, I guess. It
Yeah.
goes the whole story?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. And I mean, just is going to be beautiful. Is Bill Stout going to manage the bookstore?
Sadly, he's going to help assist us to find a vendor. But unfortunately, he's on the latter portion of his career. And,
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, we'd hoped, but we're not sure that's going to become a reality.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important that the bookstore be really a good bookstore and not just, a few AIA publications and stuff like that.
Agreed.
So anyway, I thought it was beautiful. You did a beautiful job. I cannot wait. And I think it gives us an amazing something to really buy into and raise money for. And since that's one of the things I'm going to try to do, I think it's great. Congratulations to the team and to the effort. And that's wonderful. I'm looking forward.
Thank you for your support. Beautiful. It means a lot.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We've got a couple questions in the chat box. Can you tell us about the plywood, choice of plywood as an interior material?
Yes, we have successfully in actually two of our last public projects, one being Roseland University Prep High School and the Geneva Car Barns, have been able to create a really incredibly warm but durable palette using exposed plywood as a finished material. And we feel like it's a very appropriate material given kind of, in a certain way, the AIA is not, an elite moneyed organization. We're a scrappy nonprofit that is serving the whole community. And we feel like both the ethos of the material, the durability of the material, and the kind of the tactility and the warmth that it provides is quite appropriate.
Great. Thank you. I am going to unmute Bonnie Bridges to ask a question. And I think she had a question about acoustics as well. Bonnie, you're on.
Amazing presentation. I can't believe how much you guys have gotten done and so thoroughly visioned. So I'm super excited to see it. So my one big question is about the acoustics. And I know you're spending a lot of time and energy with acoustics and Salter and everyone else. And so to me, the fluidity and the flow and the operable bookcases and operable walls and seating and the concrete exposed structure, all amazing and all contributing to poor acoustics. So I'm going to donate money for the acoustics. That's all I'm going to say.
Rosin, do you want to talk about all the efforts we've worked with Charles to pull off a acoustically sound? It's his passion, as you know, so he's heavily involved.
And he'll write a white paper on it.
We agree that acoustics is very important within this space, and we have a tall volume with a concrete ceiling and a hard floor surface. We have been working closely with Charles and his team to model the space. And as you might have noted in we basically are looking at getting a lead point for the acoustics. So we are, looking at each of the spaces for both their sound absorption and their interactivity, or their mitigation between spaces. And we're working very closely with Armstrong, who is providing much, if not all, of the acoustic materials for the project. One of the things you might have seen in the main space, which I think is helping a lot towards some of your concerns, is between each of the ribbings, we're placing felt panels vertically that still allow you to see the ribs of the ceiling, but that provide acoustic, basically acoustic softening for the space. And then some of the wall surfaces that you see that look white will be an absorptive material. So it's all still in progress in a very significant way, but we're basically working iteratively with Salter and Armstrong and a number of manufacturers to really make sure that we have those managed. But we really appreciate anything you can donate towards that. That is understood.
All right. Let's see. I am going to unmute Howard Wong to ask your question. Howard, can you unmute yourself?
When the Hound store was in operation, they had a way of walking through the store into the back and into a barber shop in the adjacent building. So actually there was a sense of circulation through the building, from Sutter Street through the building to the adjacent building. I don't know if it went out into the street, but there was actually a way of flowing, circulation flow. Is that something that's possible?
Rosalind, do you want to answer that?
I am not sure the circulation pattern that you are speaking of. It is our understanding that the former barbershop was in the back corner of the space where we are placing a large large meeting room that Josh had showed in the drawings. So our circulation is kind of primarily within our own space. We do have two means of egress, but the access to the space needs to be primarily from the front pair of doors for security purposes. We'd like to see any drawings you have or information you might have on a different approach, but this is what we see as the access to the space.
Great. Howard, does that answer your question? Oh, yeah.
I
All
think
right.
so.
Two questions. Thank you. Two questions about getting involved. One is how can the general public get involved, and the other is how can VIA get involved specifically. And there are tons of ways. Through donations, once we get to a point where we can actually do walking tours, we will be walking people through the space. There's programmatic ideas. Adrian, do you want to fill in any gaps here I'm missing?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a key part of it. And it's really a lot of fundraising right now at this point to bring this vision to reality. So if that is connecting with your institutions and organizations and networks to spread the word about this project and raise interest, I think that's going to be a key part of how each of our members and the greater public can be involved in this project.
I would like to add just a note that this is I think the AIA should be commended that they've taken what was somewhat of an insular institution that focused only on architecture, and they're broadening their goals to really create a venue for the entire community and public to be inspired by architecture and design. I mean, if you look around the world at the pedagogy that is given and provided to different cultures and how educated they are on architecture, and how sadly uneducated our own community is on architecture, this is where it all starts. Whether you're having lectures that for the elderly, for the young, our whole community needs to raise the bar. And anyone you know who is passionate about architecture and design, if you can bring them, to Stacy and her team to talk about fundraising opportunities. This is not a private fantasy. This is really about raising the bar for the entire community. Mm-hmm. So I would passionately plea to everyone to come together, because it's going to come in small chunks and in large chunks to succeed. Yeah.
And I would add
just to echo. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
To add to that, if this is something that you're passionate about, that you're really committed to bringing the public into the conversation around architecture and the built environment, please talk to our team, Amy and Stacy, about making your own testimonial, just like what we saw from Cam for the Center for Architecture and other members of the Capital Campaign and the current board of directors have already done for this Capital Campaign project. But if you have this passion and you can articulate what it means to you to bring this to the street, we want to record that and share that out.
Literally to the street.
Yeah.
Literally to the street.
And again, if you happen to have connections in the corporate world, I mean, we're surrounded by, as we all know, a remarkable amount of corporate tech entities, and they benefit from the architectural world daily. And how can they begin to give back to our community here in San Francisco and really help raise the bar?
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you all. And I just want to echo what everyone was saying. We're not building a clubhouse for the AIA, for the architects here. This is a gift to the public, and to educate the public about architecture and design and how it shapes your daily life. So we're super excited about this. If you're considering a gift, a larger gift than a couple $100s, please do reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. We have many ways of maximizing your donation. whether it's through a multi-year pledge, matching gifts, R&D, we'll figure it out. So just reach out and let me know. Also, I do want to remind you again about the naming competition. We want to make sure that this is accurately represents what we're trying to do here. So thank you all very much. Follow us on social media to hear about all of our updates. And thank you again to the panelists today and to the entire team. Thank you guys. This would not be possible without all of your help. So this has been many years in the making. So thank you all. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Stacey. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, everyone.